Welcome to the Real CP Show. I am your host, CP. And today's topic, another violent type of Anglo woman. And this time, a child abuserrness. And it was the accusations that she is a human trafficker. Shh. The quietness as well from however various politicalness, the quietness from however warped feminists, the anti-male entities, quite a number of them, etc. Right? It's like, where are these various people at on this? When numbers of women within the Feminist culture once applies to commit these extremely heinous and violent tendency type of scenario outcomes to their children. Where are these people at? That's what they're doing. Do you understand? Where is that we must protect our children at when numbers within certain parts of predominant-based culture, numbers of women, the ones applies to who act like these monstrosity, violent, non-humans, embarrassing this genericality mom terminology. Huh? Quietness. Because how many ones within the predominant culture, numbers, the ones applies to certain numbers of women, the only thing many of them have to do is this. And you'll have people running with the fastness. You understand? And how many, when they do that, this is how some of those type of women, the ones applies to, this is how they do when they say, look at those silliness type of males. We can just do our crocodile tears and they just come running without knowing anything. Now, when it's something about numbers of violent women within certain sections of the predominant culture and some other women too, don't get it confused. But that's not the topic today. If it's a male that's getting beat down, in this situation, a young male that was getting beat down, and some mysterious circumstances with the human trafficker thing, it's quite an oddness because I looked at various articles and they really didn't talk too much about the human trafficking part. That's the interesting part. It's like, they talking about, was it a girl? Was it another boy she had that she was doing this to? Which one is it? Mysteriousness on that, by the way. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Should be a real fast show. Make sure you can see this. Baldwin County, it's in Alabama part. Woman accused of beating child, a male child, and forcing another into sexual servitude. But you don't see what you just saw or heard what you just saw. Let me repeat this again. This Baldwin County Anglo woman, predominant culture, this one, violent Anglo woman is this one, accused of beating a child, that's child abuse, and forcing another childness into sexual servitude, but you really didn't see or hear what you just heard. That's how that goes, right? It's almost like people glitch out when they hear something about a predominant-based culture of women, the ones applies to, and they violent, conniving, mischievous, the ones who do this to their children, their husbands, boyfriends, etc. People glitch out and act like they don't know nothing when these type of women do this within the predominant culture. Ain't it interesting? Because you still got people that look upon these numbers of privileged ones as goddesses. Do you understand that? That's been ingrained by quite a number of people, even away from the States. How many people try to sit there and whiten out their skin? You'd be like, but that person's skin over in that place, and that place is still cloud-like. They said they didn't good enough. They wanted even more non-melanation. Do you understand the hateful that numbers of other people have in some of these other places, looking like trying to look like these goddesses, some of those kind of women the ones applies to. All right, so let's go ahead and play this video under timepiece purposes, and I'm playing this under fair usage doctrine.
New tonight, a Baldwin County woman is back behind bars after being indicted on serious charges. 35-year-old April Allen is accused of willful child abuse and first-degree human trafficking. Our Natalie Williamson joining us live in the studio tonight. And Natalie, walk us through the new court documents and what they say.
Well, Cameron, court records show a grand jury indicted Allen last week for those charges after investigators say she repeatedly beat a child with a belt and caused another child to engage in sexual servitude. Last year, Allen was arrested and charged with willful child abuse and torture. The Baldwin County Sheriff's Office told Fox 10 News they discovered an 11-year-old with multiple contusions to his arms and back. BCSO says those injuries were the result of that abuse that happened in April of 2025. Authorities say when Allen was arrested May 1st of last year, they also found her in possession of 3 different controlled substances, one of those being pressed pills that tested positive for fentanyl. BCSO says Allen was interviewed at that time, where she admitted to the abuse of the 11-year-old and to purchasing and possessing the controlled substances. Court records show her bond is set at $215,000. Her arraignment is scheduled for June 24th.
Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. But you got people that do just like this. Those are people. And again, I'm like, okay. She beat down her male child. Beat him down bad. Now, some people, with the belt part, we're not getting into all that. But it's another thing when you beating down with however situations and they're having these contusions and things all over their body like that. That's torture. Now, could you imagine if that would have been a male that did this to a young girl? Oh, man, they'd have been like, take his head off. Both of them. Do you understand? But when it's a male child, right, and you have these violent type women like this within certain states of the Panama-based culture and some other ones, don't get it confused, but related to this topic, this particular woman within the Panama-based culture, they're like, they don't see nothing then. They're like, well, yeah, it's kind of wrong a little bit. Where's that old outrage when it's a boy that's been abused by the genericality, the monstrosity, genericality, right? Insignificant terminology that don't fit this particular inhuman cretin that's supposed to be called a mother. Where's that outrage then? Quietness. In actuality, was there something else I wanted to read on that? I may have, give me a second. Give me one moment here. Let me go back. Was there something else? But you know what? Let me read. Let me share the screen one more time, right? Let me read a few more things of this, sentences of this particular article. Okay, make sure you can see this. All right. So it talks about how Baldwin County, Alabama, a Baldwin County woman is back. A Baldwin County type of Anglo-ness woman is back behind bars after being indicted on serious charges. 35-year-old April Nicole Allen is accused of willful child abuse and first-degree human traffickingness. We're gonna play quiet on that, right? Court records show a grand jury indicted Allen last week for those charges after investigators say she repeatedly beat a child with a belt and caused another child to engage in sexual servitude. Last year, Allen was arrested and charged with willful child abuse and torture. The such and such, however, personnel relayed over, they discovered an 11-year-old boy, that was a boy, with multiple contusions to his arms and back. However, entity says those injuries were the result of the abuse that happened in April of 2025. Authorities say when Allen was arrested May the 1st of last year, 2025, they also found found her in possession of 3 different controlled substances, one of those being pressed pills that tested positive for fentanyl. Mm-hmm. So when this entity, however, says Allen was interviewed at that time, where she admitted to the business of the 11-year-old, you see how they keep trying to minimize, not to say really the boy. You have to watch these little sneaky people when they do little sneaky little kanakanas, right? Because if this was a male that did this, oh, they overall would say, oh, yeah, that was a girl, a little innocent girl. We must protect little girls. If that was a male, you see how the game goes. Understand. And to purchase, such an entity said that Allen was interviewed at the time where she admitted to the business of the 11-year-old boy and to purchasing and possessing the controlled substances. Court records show her bond is set at $15,000. Now, I want you to imagine if this would have been again a male, let alone been a Black American male that did this to a little girl. Oh, you really want to go there? You really want to go there? What if this was a Black American male, and he was in a relationship with a type of woman within the Polyamorous culture, and he just flipped out, which 9.9999% don't do that. But let's just say hypothetically that happened. You think that'd have been $215,000 if that would have been a Black male who did this to a little white little girl child? What? 1 million minimum, if that. And probably most likely no bail. Understand the game. Her arraignment is scheduled for June 24, basically 2026, unless that basically changes. So I just kind of wanted to show that particular part of it as well. And there are some foolish people that have the nerve, because again, they love trying to minimize. There are some people that say, she probably has some kids with some Black males. Go to Haiti. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP show.